Once upon a time, remarked Outa, thoughtfully, Liu used to fly. Oh, said the children all together, and their eyes widened with terror at the picture called up by Outa's words. Yes, my Bajas. And then nothing could live before him. His wings were not covered with feathers. They were like the wings of Brother Bat, all skin and ribs, but they were very big and very strong, and when he wasn't flying they were folded flat against his sides. When he was angry he let the points down to the ground to raw like Uba's turkey, when he gobbles and struts before his wives stir, and when he wanted to rise from the ground he spread them out and flapped them up and down slowly, at first so, my boss Jays. Then faster and faster so till he made a big wind with them, and sailed away into the air. Outa, flapping his crooked arms and puffing out his disproportionate chest, seemed about to follow suit, but suddenly subsided again onto his stool. But it was a terrible sight. Then, when he was high above the earth, he would look down for something to kill. If he saw a herd of springbok, he would fly along till he was just over them, and pick out a nice fat one. Then he would stretch out his iron claws, fold his wings and whoops. Down he would fall on the poor bokkie before it had time to jump away. Yes, that was the way Liu hunted in the olden times. There was only one thing he was afraid of, and that was that the bones of the animals he caught and ate would be broken to pieces. No one knew why, and everyone was too frightened of Liu to try and find out. He used to keep them all at his home in the kranzes, and he had crows to look after them, 2 at a timonot like the ugly black crows that build in the willow trees near the dam, but white crows, the kind that come only once in many years. As soon as a white crow baby was found, it was taken to Liu, that was his order. Then he kept it in the kranzes of the mountains and let it grow big. And when the old white crows died, the next eldest became watchman. And so there were always white crows to watch the bones when Liu went hunting. But one day while he was away, Brother Big Bullfrog came along, hop hoppity hop, and said, "Why do you sit here all day, you whitehead crows?" And the white crows said, "We sit here to look after the bones for Liu." But you must be tired of sitting," said Brother Big Bullfrog. "You fly away a little and stretch your wings. I will sit here and look after the bones." The white crows looked this way and that way, up and down and all round. But no, they couldn't see Liu, and they thought, now is our chance to get away for a fly. So they said, "Craw, craw, raw," and stretched out their wings and flew away. Brother Big Bullfrog called out after them, "Don't hurry back. Stay as long as you like. I will take care of the bones." But as soon as they were gone, he said, "Now I shall find out why Liu keeps the bones from being broken. Now I shall see why men and animals can live no longer." And he went from one end to the other of Liu's house at the bottom of the krantz, breaking all the bones he could find. But he worked quickly. Crack, 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 crack. Wherever he went, he broke bones. Then when he had finished, he hopped away. Hop, hop, hoppity hop, as fast as he could. When he had nearly reached his dam in the veld, the white crows overtook him. They had been to the krantz and, phoey, they were frightened when they saw all the broken bones. "Craw, craw," they said. "Brother Big Bullfrog, why are you so wicked? Liu will be so angry. He will bite off our nice white head scraw, craw, and without a head, who can live?" But Brother Big Bullfrog pretended he didn't hear. He just hopped on as fast as he could, and the white crows went after him. "It's no good hopping away, Brother Bullfrog," they said. "Liu will find you wherever you are, and with one blow of his iron claws he will kill you." But old Brother Big Bullfrog didn't take any notice. He just hopped on, and when he came to his dam, he sat back at the edge of the water and blinked the beautiful eyes in his ugly old head, and said, "When Liu comes, tell him I am the man who broke the bones. Tell him I live in this dam, and if he wants to see me, he must come here." The white crows were very cross. They flew down quickly to peck Brother Big Bullfrog, but they only dug their beaks into the soft mud. because Brother Big Bullfrog wasn't sitting there any longer. Kabloops. He had dived into the dam, and the white crows could only see the rings round the place where he had made a hole in the water. Liu was far away in the veld, waiting for food, waiting for food. At last he saw a herd of Zebrast little striped horses that he is very fond of, and he tried to fly up so that he could fall on one of them, but he couldn't. He tried again, but no, he couldn't. He spread out his wings and flapped them, but they were quite weak, like Basjet's umbrella when the ribs are broken. Then Liu knew there must be something wrong at his house, and he was too angry. He struck his iron claws into the ground and roared and roared. Softly he began, like thunder far away rolling through the kloofs, then louder and louder, till horror, the earth beneath him seemed to shake. It was a terrible noise, but all his roaring did not help him. He couldn't fly, and at last he had to get up and walk home. He found the poor white crows nearly dead with fright, but they soon found out that he could no longer fly, so they were not afraid of him. He roared. "What have you done to make my wings so weak?" And they said, "While was away, someone came and broke all the bones." And Liu said, "You were put here to watch them. It is your fault that they are broken, and to punish you I am going to bite your stupid white heads off." He sprang towards them, but now that they knew he couldn't fly, they were not afraid of him. They flew away and sailed round in the air over his head, just too high for him to reach, and they called out, "Ha! Ha! Ha! Cannot catch us. The bones are broken, and his wings are useless. Now men and animals can live again. We will fly away and tell them the good news." Liu sprang into the air, first to one side and then to the other, striking at them, but he couldn't reach them, and when he found all his efforts were in vain, he rolled on the ground and roared louder than ever. The white crows flew round him in rings and called out, "Ha! Ha!" The man who broke the bones said, "If wants me, he can come and look for me at the dam." Craw, craw, and away they flew. Then Liu thought, "Wait, I'll get hold of the one who broke the bones. I'll get him." So he went to the dam, and there was old Brother Bullfrog sitting in the sun at the water's edge. Liu crept up slowly, quietly, like a schelm, behind Brother Bullfrog. "Ha! Now I've got him," he thought, and made a spring, but Brother Bullfrog said, "Ho!" and dived in kabloops, and came up at the other side of the dam, and sat there blinking in the sun. Liu ran round as hard as he could, and was just going to spring, when kabloops. Brother Bullfrog dived in again and came up at the other side of the dam, and so it went on. Each time, just when Liu had nearly caught him, Brother Bullfrog dived in kabloops, and called out, "Ho!" from the other side of the dam. Then at last Liu saw it was no use trying to catch Brother Bullfrog, so he went home to see if he could mend the broken bones. But he could not, and from that day he could no longer fly, only walk upon his iron claws. Also from that day he learned to creep quietly like a schelm after his game, and though he still catches them and eats them, he is not as dangerous as he was when he could fly. And the white crows can no longer speak, they can only say, "Craw, craw." But old Brother Big Bullfrog still goes hop hop hoppity hop round about the dam, and whenever he sees Liu he just says, "Ho!" and dives into the water kabloops, as fast as he can, and sits there laughing when he hears Liu roar with anger. Story number 2, Why the Heron Has a Crooked Neck. The flames leapt gaily upward in the wide fireplace, throwing strange shadows on the painted walls and gleaming on the polished wood of floor and beam and cupboard. Little Jan basked contentedly in the warmth, almost dozing, now absently stroking the terrier curled up beside him, now running his fingers through the softer fur of the rug on which he lay. It was made of silver jackal skins, a dozen of them, to judge from the 6 bushy tails spread out on either side, and as Outa Carel's gaze rested on them, he remarked reminiscently, "Arre, but Jackal's was a slim Carol. No one ever got the better of him without paying for it." In an instant, Little Jan was sitting bolt upright, every symptom of sleep banished from his face. The book from which Willem had been laboriously trying to gain some idea of the physical features of Russia was flung to the far end of the rust bank, while Piet, suspending for a brief moment his whittling of a catapult stick, slid along the floor to get within better sight and sound of the story. Yes, my little masters, sometimes it was Leu he cheated, sometimes it was Baz Babian or Wolf, and once it was the poor little dove, and that is what made me think of how he was cheated himself. Did the little dove cheat him? Asked Piety eager. No, Basha, the dove is too frightened, not stupid, Basha, but like people are when they are too gentle and kind and believe everything other people tell. She was sitting on her nest one day singing to her little children, coo-oo, 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 when Jakals prowled along under the tree and heard, Allah world, now I'll have a nice breakfast, he thought, and he called out, Good morning, Tante. I hear you have such pretty little children, please bring them down for me to see. But the Tante was frightened of Jakals, and said, I am sorry, they are not well today, and I must keep them at home. Then Jakals lost his temper, and called out, Nonsense, I am hungry, and want something to eat. So throw down one of your little children at once. Basjes no, sometimes crossness drives away frightenness. And Tante was so cross with Jakals for wanting to eat one of her little children that she called out, No, no, you bad Jakal, I shall do nothing of the sort. Go away and look for other food. If you don't, I'll fly up and eat them all, said Jakals. Throw one down at once. And he stamped about and made such a horrible noise that the poor Tante thought he was really flying up. She looked at her babies. There wasn't one she wanted to give, but it was better to lose one than have them all eaten. So she shut her eyes and fluttered about the nest till one of them fell out, and Jakals caught it in his mouth and carried it off to his hole to eat. But the poor Tante was sad. She spread her wings over her other children and never slept all night, but looked about this way and that way with her soft arm, thinking every little noise she heard was Jakals trying to fly up to her nest to gobble up all her baby. The next morning there was Jakals again. Tante, your child was a nice, juicy mouthful. Throw me down another. And make haste, do you hear? Or I'll fly up and eat you all. Coo-oo, 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 said Tante, crying. No, I won't give you one. But it was no use. And in the end she did what she had done before, just shut her eyes and fluttered round and round till a baby fell out of the nest. She thought there was no help for it, and, like some people, she thought what the eye didn't see, the heart wouldn't feel. But her heart was very sore, and she cried more sadly than ever, and this time she said, Ooh, ooh, oh, ooh. It was very sad and sorrowful to listen to. Ooh, 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 ooh. Here came old Razor. He is a kind old bird, though he holds his neck so crooked and looks like there was nothing to smile at in the whole wide world. Ah, why do you cry so sadly, Tante? It nearly gives me a stitch in my side. Ooh, I am very miserable. Jakals has eaten 2 of my little children, and tomorrow he will come for another, and soon I shall have none left. But why did you let him eat? Because he said if I didn't give him one he would fly up and eat them all. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Then Raja was very angry. He flapped his wings and stretched out his long neck so, my bass jade, just so. The children hugged themselves in silent delight at Auda's fine acting, and he opened and shut his long beak to show how he would like to peck out Jakal's wicked eyes, if he could only hint. That vervlakste Jakals, he said, to tell such lies. But Tante, you are stupid. Don't you know Jakals can't fly? Now listen to me. When he comes again, tell him you know he can't fly, and that you won't give him any more of your children. The next day there came Jakals again with his old story, but Tante just laughed. No, you storytelling bushy she said. I won't give you any more of my little children, and you needn't say you'll fly up and eat them, because I know you can't. Near, 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 said Jakals growling. How do you know that? Raja told me, so there, said Tante, and you can just go to your My, but Tante was getting brave now that she knew she and her little children were safe. That was the worst insult you can ever give a grown-up Jakals. and Jacals growled more than ever. Never mind, he said at last. Tante is only of Rauman's. I won't bother with her anymore, but wait till I catch right. He'll be sorry he poked his long nose into my business, the old meddler, and he trotted off to look for him. He hunted, and at last he found him standing on one leg at the side of the river, with his long neck drawn in and his head resting on his shoulder. Good day, Rajah, he said politely. How is today? I am all right, answered Rajah shortly, without moving an inch. Jackal spoke in a little small voice each. Talk so humble. Please come this way a little. I am so stupid, but you are so wise and clever, and I want to ask your advice about something. Rajah began to listen. It is so when people hear about themselves. He put down his other leg, stretched out his neck, and asked over his shoulder, What did you say? Come talk this way a little. The mud over there is too soft for me to stand on. I want your valuable advice about the wind. The other people all say I must ask you, because no one is as wise as you. Truly, Jacals was a slim Carol. He knew how to stroke Rajah's feathers the right way. Rajah came slowly over the mood a person mustn't show he is too pleased. He even stopped to swallow a little frog on the way, and then he said, careless-like, Yes, I can tell you all about the wind and weather. Ask what you like, Jacals. His long neck twisted about with pride. When the wind is from the west, how must one hold one's head? Is that all? Said Rajah. Just so. And he turned his head to the east. Thank you, And when the wind is from the east, so? Rajah bent his neck the other way. Thank you, said the little small voice, so grateful and humble. But when there is a storm and the rain beats down, how then? So, said Rajah, and he bent his neck down till his head nearly touched his toe. My little masters, just as quickly as a whip snake shoots into his hole, so Jacals shot out his arm and caught Rajah on the bend of his neck, and in a minute the poor old bird was rolling in the mud with his neck nearly broken, and so weak that he couldn't even lift his beak to peck at the false wicked eyes that were staring at him. Ah, how glad was cruel Jacals. He laughed till he couldn't any more. He screamed and danced with pleasure. He waved his bushy tail, and the silver mane on his back bristled as he jumped about. Ha 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 ha! Thought to do me a bad turn, but I'll teach people not to interfere with me. Ha ha ha! No one is as wise as Rajah. Then he will soon find out how to mend his broken neck. Ha 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 ha! Jacals gave one last spring right over poor Rajah, and danced off to his den in the copses to tell Tante Jacals and the little Jacalsjes how he had cheated Rajah. And from that day Basha's Rajah's neck is crooked. He can't hold it straight, and it's all through trying to interfere with Jacals. That is why I said Jacals is a slim car. Whether he walks on 4 legs or on 2, the best is to leave him alone, because he can always make a plan, and no one ever gets the better of him without paying for it in the end.